Republicans and Democrats in the United States Congress have missed a deadline to agree a new budget, meaning many US government services will now begin to shut down. The bill to continue funding the federal government was deadlocked over the Republicans' insistence that it should include measures to delay President Obama's healthcare reforms. More than 700,000 government workers will now be told to stay at home.
Well, the shutdown became a certainty late Monday when the Senate again rejected House efforts to use a stopgap spending bill to derail Obamacare.
President Obama tried to rally congressional leaders with phone calls in the hours leading up to that latest vote.
Just a short time ago, House Republicans voted to keep the Obamacare amendments attached to the spending bill and then requested negotiations with the Senate, even though the idea was already rejected by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid.
President Obama earlier warned both sides of the very real economic impact a shutdown would have. All but some key government services will be closed and remain so until Congress resolves its differences, which could be a matter of days or weeks.
The president was clear throughout. He would not accept a spending deal that carried the condition of stifling his Affordable Care Act. He signed legislation to ensure military personnel keep getting paid during a shutdown. He also gave them this message.
Unfortunately, Congress has not fulfilled its responsibility. It's failed to pass a budget, and as a result, much of our government must now shut down until Congress funds it again.
So what does a government shutdown look like? Well, we won't see panic and chaos on the streets of America.
Democrats say this has been on the Republican agenda for years, with House Majority Leader John Boehner in the vanguard.
They have wiggled this way and that to keep being very resourceful in how they come up with ways to shut down government. Because, as Harry Reid said, they don't believe in government. They're anti-government ideologues who are, it's the Tea Party shutdown of government.
Polls suggest most Americans hold Republicans responsible for the crisis. Moments ago, the Republican Speaker of the House of Representatives dodged questions about public workers who lose pay.
Later today, 800,000 federal workers will receive notices they're no longer needed on the job. What's your message to them, and do you have a plan to restore back pay to them?
The House has voted to keep the government open. But we also want basic fairness for all Americans under Obamacare.
What do you say to those workers?
Nearly 1 million federal workers' paychecks could be jeopardized, and some federal agencies will feel the impact more acutely than others. The military will continue to operate, but instead of paychecks, those in uniforms could get IOUs to collect pay at a later date. That could change if Congress votes to actually pay the military rather than issue IOUs. Still, civilian employees could be furloughed. Air traffic controllers, the Federal Reserve, the FBI, DEA, and federal courts will operate normally for a time. But if the shutdown lasts longer than 2 weeks, the courts could run out of reserve funds. Since the Postal Service operates as an independent agency, the mail will keep coming through snow, rain, heat, even a government shutdown. Most Homeland Security operations will continue, but the FDA says it would be unable to keep up most of its food safety oversight. 6,600 employees could be furloughed. HUD would largely be shut down. Same with the Department of Interior, which means the national parks would also close. And if you're coming to Washington, the Smithsonian Museums and the zoo would be closed. The Department of Labor, Energy, Commerce, and the EPA are also expected to shut down. Some IRS functions would cease, but Social Security checks would still go out. And veterans could see their benefits affected, but medical services should continue.